Good morning, this is Miss Cepeda, and today we are going to look at Zentangle designs. In class last week, my students were working on their names with Zentangle designs. It is very overwhelming because it looks like it's incredibly complicated. There are lots of small details, lots of tiny parts, and the students weren't entirely sure how to tackle this. But the good news is it's not as complicated as it looks. It's really a matter of finding a pattern that you like and repeating it. And then when you feel like changing, finding another pattern that you like and changing it up. Today I have prepared 6 little squares here, and I am going to show you a few examples of how easy it is. All right. I personally like a lot of curved designs. This comes as a result of my years as a henna tattoo artist, so I tend to gravitate to those more. But as you can see, I'll just take a small few curves and then I'll change it direction. All right, so creating a pattern is not as difficult, as I said. What you do is you just find lines that you like and then repeat them. Sometimes they're not perfect. Those lines are a little bit smaller than I would have liked, but it happens. So you work with it. And in the end, the design is usually so complex that no one's going to notice anyway. And you just keep going. And there you have it. Very simple, very easy. If you can draw an O or a C, you can do the next one. They're swirls. I like swirls. They're easy, they're pretty, and you can adapt it to any area that you're working because you can make them large, you can make them small, so it works for anything. Your patterns don't have to just swirl around each other in different directions. You can absolutely do linear patterns. One that I like, you just do lines, then you go in a different direction, and you go in a different direction, and you just keep going like that. Another design that I recently played around with on my Zentangle name looks kind of like little branches. So you come in, you do a dot, a couple of branches off, and little dots. And you just keep adding them all around the space. Another thing that I like a lot are themes that are natural, so I tend to do a lot of leaves. These you can just do a swirly line, repeat it, and then you go in and you draw leaves. That's simple. Another one that looks complicated but is not is a larger leaf. So you just come around with a simple line. I tend to make it a little bit bolder, so I'll go over it a couple of times. I prefer to use the fine end of my Sharpie so I have a little bit of control, more so than the thicker end. So that's why I tend to go over it a few times instead of just once with the wider end. From here, you make shapes that look like hearts. I always go back and make my lines bolder for these. You have to watch out with Sharpies because if you stop for too long, they will bleed on your paper and you will get a spot that you don't necessarily want. Okay, once I do that, lately I've been doing little circles on the outside just to give a little bit of extra design and decoration. Fill in the little gaps. And then I go over these again to make them bolder. From there, you can repeat the design, or you can use up the rest of the space with other designs. So there we have it. I know that all of my students can draw curved lines, little swirls, straight lines, circles, dots, and wavy lines. I know you all can do this. So if you can do just these most simple, basic drawing techniques, you can develop them into a much more complicated Zentangle pattern. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned. I will have more for you to learn soon.